when I look for inspiration, I don't look at my own industry, because looking at my own industry is like looking at your own product in a sense. If you just look at your own industry, you tend to sort of do what everyone else is doing. And so when I'm looking for design inspiration, I look towards architecture, or I look towards gardening, or I look towards, or like plants and flowers or animals. I look at other things. If I'm trying to figure out what colors work, I look outside. I don't look at other products and see what colors people are using, or what palettes this app has, or what. I look outside because nature's always got it figured out. Nothing in nature looks bad. So I'll look there. Or if I want to get a sense of like how something feels, I'll go walk into a beautiful building and think about, why is this building beautiful? Why does it feel good? What's good about it? Is it the textures? Is it the way materials come together? Is it the scale? Is it proportion? Is it the setting? What is it? And that's the kind of stuff that just gets me to think about software in a strange way, because it's unrelated to software. If you were really to like lay it out, it's unrelated, but it's also very related. And then it's about space and function and feeling and all those things. So I think that's, part of the reason of having two things is to be able to see a different perspective and try something else, but also broader, getting away from your own thing. And I'm going to broaden that out to my own industry and look at other sort of related kind of things to get ideas. That's how I've always found, because I remember when I was coming up initially, I would always look at like communication arts, the print, yep. Or print actually was another one where you have like business cards and letterhead. And I got ideas from that early on. I remember it. But what I was getting when I was early on, I was getting ideas for things I wanted to copy. And I found that the more I looked at my own industry or similar things, actually the less creative I felt myself being. I felt myself becoming a good copier, which was a good way to learn initially. Like, how could I recreate that, or how could I make that? But I wasn't coming up with my own ideas until I got away from my own industry and looked at other things, and then tried to figure out how to incorporate those back into the work that I was doing. So that, I think, is a related point to the point you brought up about having two products and taking one thing from another.
And I talk about this with my design students back when I was teaching in art school, is that creativity is your ability to find a connection between two or more disparate things. And the farther apart those two things are, the more we're going to say that's really creative. When you can bring in something just totally like a non sequitur, non-related thing, and you bring it into your thinking, that is where people are like, wow, that is crazy cool, unique, interesting. Whereas if you just look at design in the industry that you're in, then it becomes kind of very, I guess it's you just regurgitating an idea and putting a slightly new coat of paint on it, but it's really the same idea seen over and over again. And thanks for opening that up.
Yeah, like for example, on my desk right now, I have like rocks that I've collected. There's nothing special about the rocks other than I like the way they look, and the textures and the colors and the shadows and the shapes and the proportions. I don't know what it does to me, but I like having them around me. And I feel like whenever I'm working on a design or something, I tend to look at the rocks and go like, why does that work? Why does that rock work? Aesthetically, at least for me. And this is, of course, always a purely subjective thing. There's no objective thing probably here. Or like ceramics is something I really like. And there's a few artists I really like. And I'll have their stuff around. And it helps me think about proportion and color and shape and size. And I don't know, it gets me going versus looking at other apps or looking through a book of design stuff, Right. It's one of the reasons I love furniture so much. Furniture is another one of those things that like, I just look at that and I get ideas from it.
Are these I don't want to go too far on this, but are these fancy rocks or are these just rocks you found while walking?
These are, I'll just get one for you. It's just like, this is a rock I found on the beach.
Yeah, it's got some holes in it.
It's got some holes in it, but it's like, I like the way it looks. I don't know, there's just a lot of textures and shadows and like, there's some really interesting lines on it. I don't know.
I see that.
It's just that. And then I'll also have, I have this, which is like called a desert rose. Whoa. Which is a neat thing. I didn't find this. I bought this. It's, it's like $10. It's not a fancy thing, but I just liked it.
Yeah.
And I don't know,
That's really unique.
Yeah, it's just having like stuff like that around that, or designed objects, whatever. But again, I'm trying not to look at software when I build software. That's kind of the point I'm trying to get at.
That makes sense. Yeah. I guess the lesson to learn here is that there's so much more you can draw inspiration from if you're willing to look and pay attention.
Yes. And it's everywhere. You don't need to go far. You just walk outside and look around. And another thing I like to look at really closely are leaves and flowers. And there's just, if you look at a flower from afar, it's beautiful. But when you get up close, it's even more beautiful because you see a lot of intricacies and little sometimes like multiple shapes, almost a fractal thing going on. And they're very delicate, but they're just incredibly beautiful and intricate and ornate. And you see colors blending into other colors, and they always work. You'll never find a flower that doesn't work aesthetically. It's not a thing, which is an incredible notion in itself, that there can actually be something that always works somehow. I don't know how, but they're beautiful. So anyway, I'll look at that kind of stuff, and now I'm sort of belaboring the point. But there's inspiration everywhere, and I would encourage people to look far outside their own industry and their own trade for it.
Hi, my name is Greg Gunn, and I'm the producer of the Future podcast. And yes, we do have a podcast. In fact, we've been having one for years, and that's exactly why I'm here talking with you. You see, it's really good, and I think you should listen to it. If you like what we do here on YouTube, then you're gonna love what we do on the podcast. You'll get to hear intimate conversations and personal stories from some familiar faces and others you might not know about yet. Plus, you can listen to it while doing something else, and you won't miss a thing. So, if any of that sounds interesting to you, go visit thefuture.com/podcast or find it on your favorite podcast listening app. I hope to see you there.